Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me today. My talk is From Developer to Bus Driver, the many roles needed to improve technology in transit. Today, I will be telling you about our dev team's, one of our dev team's biggest projects, and then I will talk more about the important roles that were part of that success. First, a bit about myself. I'm Heather Pape. I'm currently the app dev supervisor at Utah Transit Authority, and I worked as the technical business analyst on the MDD project that I'll be talking about more in a few minutes. A little bit about UTA. We have a fixed bus, BRT, flex bus on demand using VIA, regional rail, light rail, and streetcar. We serve a metro population of 2.6 million, covering 5 counties, 1,600 square mile service area. Our service is voted in by taxpayers who agree to pay a sales tax in order to have our service. And we have around 3,000 employees and over 800 vehicles. Here's just a glance at our service area, the 5 counties. I'm not going to name them for you, but maybe I will. Weber, Davis, Tooele, which is out here to the left, and as well as Salt Lake and Utah counties. You can see our rail line, which runs from Ogden to Provo. That's the front runner. And we also have the tracks, which is our light rail, which runs within Salt Lake County. And then down here in the blue is UVX, which is our current only BRT, but there is another one coming soon. So I'm going to tell you a bit about our mobile data device project. I'll give you a little history, talk about the budget, what the impact was, some of the changes we made along the way, as well as the team. So we have a team of 8 in-house software developers currently, and one long-term software contractor who just left after completing this project. We had 1 project manager, 2 technical business analysts. We had someone named Kevin who started this project and then left UTA, and that's where I picked up. And then we have 18 people on the radio team, which have helped a lot on this project, and I'll touch more on that as I go. And then the rest of UTA, because this was not an isolated effort, it was really something that took feedback from so many parts of the company. The history of the MDD starts with this little Transdat device that was used by the drivers starting around 1991. I got this photo from our little, we have a little museum in our IT area, and this is the oldest version of this we have. And then around 1999, the display had changed a little bit. Still really limited in what information can be communicated through this device and what the drivers can see and the buttons available to them. In the early 2000s, we moved to the MDC, mobile data computer. Until recently, this is what we've been running. The MDC is a computer with a spinning hard drive. That's the big black rectangle in the center here. And It's attached to this monitor that the drivers use. So the MDC here is running on Windows XP, which was not able to be updated further. And that was one of the catalysts for this update project. We also set out to modernize the hardware, update to current operating systems, and to get feedback and just improve the user experience with the new version. So this setup was originally used to show off the new technology when the device was new, and it's still used by our developers to show off all the technology and understand more and troubleshoot. So, you know, we can turn this on and send messages to it, or make sure fare pay cards are accepted, see what information is being gathered there. Yeah, and it's a little annoying when it's running, so we turn it off when it's not running because you get all the announcements going out to all the drivers. So when we set out, we took a look at some of the other projects doing similar things in different similar organizations, and most of them were running at about $30 million. But we had a much more ambitious budget of only $5 million and a 5-year timeline to start this project in 2020 and go to 2025. And the project is actually wrapping up, and we were able to complete this in a much quicker time frame than initially planned for. So that's awesome. And we ended up going with the this Panasonic Toughbook, which is an Android tablet that we worked with Panasonic very closely on. And we developed our own software to run on this device and our own launcher to ensure that the app always comes up. There's obviously a few ways around that, but that makes for a nice seamless experience for our operators. And we put those on all of our vehicles. I think we have somewhere in the dozens left to complete on the buses. Right now, I think they're working towards some reserve vehicles, updating that technology, removing the MDC and adding the MDD. But our front runners and tracks have been running these devices for over a year now. And here is what the setup looks like in a bus. So we have, it's mounted to the right of the operator within arm's reach so they can utilize it and see everything without being distracted while driving. And this is on the right here, our custom designed IO box with a custom circuit board and a Raspberry Pi. Our team is really proud of the fact that we've actually designed our own circuit boards, and we have a team, part of our radio team, who works on these in-house. And we were using a similar circuit board that was discontinued, and we couldn't get anything similar. So in order to complete the project, we actually built these in-house ourselves. And here is the tablet in action. One of the great things about being someone who regularly takes transit in my day-to-day life is that I'm able to talk with the operators about their experience with the software as we were rolling it out. This was on my way home from the grocery store on a Saturday. I was chatting with an operator and got to take a picture of this and got some feedback. As we were gathering feedback, one of the big things that we heard was that the drivers didn't like this map. And that came as a shock to some of the developers, I think, and some of the other people working on the project, because when you're using any sort of navigation device or any heads-up display in your car, a map is a really crucial piece of that. However, most of our operators, especially the old guard, are very, very familiar with their routes and find it to be a waste of space. They would much prefer more information and larger display showing their time points, which in this version only take up 1/4 of the screen. So we were able to take that feedback and some other feedback and make changes. So this is the updated GUI, and it looks very similar, but we have these little buttons in the center, and the display has been greatly increased. Also, if you look, we have a few other things that have been removed from the screen to allow that time, bus stop times to be more in focus. And like this F here is the information about our transfers for the day, and that was moved up to the side rather than pushing this information down. So this is one option, and we didn't want to remove the maps completely because they are super important for our newer drivers to understand where they're going, and it also provides information when detours and other information is needed. So even the most, seasoned of operators might need to visit another business unit and drive in an area they're unfamiliar with, or detour around something crazy. So the information is here when they need it, but using these buttons in the middle, they can shrink away the map. They can also move the map to the right side. Some operators appreciated the map, but based on the way they sat, the fare box, if you look here, fare box is just to the right of these masks in that thing there. Some of them preferred that they have the time stops to the left, so we gave them that option. And they can hide it completely, pop it out occasionally, or keep it hidden until they need it. We also added the ability to save their preferences so they don't have to fuss with it at the beginning of each of their days. I'll come back to that. So this is what it looks like once the map is hidden. They're able to see a few more time points, and the weather information is over to the right to give more real estate to that information that they find most useful. One of the pieces of positive feedback that we got was regarding the text messages. So this is the older user interface, but the text messages haven't changed, and it allows users to come in here and select a category and then a second category and a message. Drivers don't want to be typing while they're driving, but they do need to stay in communication with our transit control center. So this allows them to relay a lot of information in just a few clicks or taps. And here's a few other highlights that have been added using the MDD. I'm not going to go into those, but we can come back later if people have questions. As part of this project, we also updated the CAD AVL. This was done in partnership with a third-party development team, but using requirements that our team wrote and working very closely with them, our team has taken over support of this software. And yeah, this is just an updated CAD-AVL. I'm sure some of you have seen other CAD-AVLs in by other organizations or purchased ones. Ours was built specifically with our TCC folks, Transit Control Center folks in mind. They gave a lot of feedback along the way. Here we're able to see all the vehicles, and you can message them, call them, you can log them in or log them out from this screen depending on your permissions. You can also access a lot of the other pieces of the application up above using the history, and you can customize the map to be however you like. We gave them a dark mode because they stare at their screens a lot all day and prefer a bit more darkness. And here are some of the highlights for what was added for that project as well. And a little peek into our Transit Control Center and light rail control centers. And this is where they use all of this software. And it was really great working with these teams and getting their feedback along the way so that we can better change the software for their needs. That's one of the great benefits of having an in-house programming team, is that we can do this very customized software that really meets our customers' needs. And you know, people who leave the office and make lines with the frontline employees can have a lot more understanding of their needs. Talking with the operators is how we understood that, you know, the map wasn't this thing that, while we found it really neat and shiny, they found it kind of useless and taking up a lot of space. One of my friends, Maggie, who I talked with, said that she kept her whiteboard app up, which is a thing that shows any movements or other things going on the rails, because, you know, a tracks operator is going in a relatively straight line. They're not going to have any detours. And so instead, they find information about what's going on their rails more important than the map. And this is my friend TJ, who I've gotten to visit a few times while checking up on the software and seeing what we can do to make it better. And I think it's just so important to have people in these roles who have the passion for public transit. I know everyone here has a passion for public transit. That's why we chose to spend our Sunday mornings and afternoons geeking out about transit. And so I would encourage any of you who do not yet work in transit to think about it. Think you have that passion. Think about all the good you can do by bringing that passion and understanding and making the changes needed in transit organizations. We need people at all levels of the organization in all roles to continue improving the transit experience. And we need more leaders with a passion for transit. We are very lucky at UTA to have Jay Fox, our wonderful executive director, who is just as passionate about transit as many of us. He also really cares deeply about a lot of the people, but we all know way too many leaders who don't have the passion that we have to improve the transit. And that's why we need people joining organizations at every level so that they can grow up in the organization or other organizations and help lead the charge in making transit better. And to help sway you towards coming to transit, here are some of the benefits. We have pay transparency. Working for the government, the pay lanes are very well known and publicized, and you can see what role gets what pay. You also have government salary directories available, so you can actually look up anyone. You can look me up and see how much they made last year. And that really helps for equity. You can know that there's not going to be someone in your same role making a great amount more or less than you. We also have a lot of flexibility. You might have to go into the office, but the work-life balance is fantastic. No one on my team ever really needs to work more than 40 hours. Unfortunately, due to operator shortages, my operator friends are working much longer hours, but hopefully getting more people who understand the needs of the frontline operators and the customers can help improve those statistics. Stability. While big tech companies might be overhiring and laying people off, we plan ahead to ensure funding before we hire. And during economic downturns, our services are needed more than ever. So you've seen a lot of layoffs recently in the tech sector, and that's not something that we are experiencing. And of course, great benefits. We have government level retirement and healthcare, which is fantastic. Of course, one of my favorite benefits, of course, is that you get to ride transit. I get a free pass to ride any transit in the Utah Valley or the Wasatch Front. And it's fantastic. And I can occasionally make excuses to go ride transit for fun, which is really great. And best of all, though, you are serving the community. Transit is something that really makes such a difference in people's lives, getting them to their healthcare, their jobs, their families. You can really feel good about what you're doing. You're not making some shiny thing that's going to be sold and then in a landfill in 10 years. This is lasting impact to improve people's lives. Some of the roles that you know about, obviously, are roles like customer service, operators, planners, schedulers, civil engineers, maintenance. This is Maui. He's frequently in the news because he has such a positive attitude and loves his job so much, driving the ski bus up to the ski resorts every winter. But some of the other roles that are more behind the scenes that you might not think about are, of course, application developers, which I've talked about a bit, but you also have data analysts, business analysts, people who write policy, people who do cool things like restore batteries and other sustainability efforts, IT security, DevOps, and of course, all the other roles that keep a business running. So come join us and help make transit better for everyone. Thank you.